Hello and welcome to another episode of Voice of Crypto, guys. And I welcome good morning, good night, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are, depending on your time zone. And today we have Rohas Nagpal with us, a very interesting guest. And I think it's the right time to get Rohas on this podcast, as hopefully we are going to see the next bull run. So, welcome on the podcast, Rohas.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. So, Roaz, if you could just share something about you, your I know your history, where all you have worked, and how you got into crypto. That's really interesting. And then I think we can get started with the topic as well.
Sure, sure. So I actually first came across Bitcoin in 2011. At that time, I was a cybercrime investigator, and I was helping one of the police departments to investigate a case where the drug mafia was using Bitcoin for the drug payments. So that was the first time I heard about it. I found the concept very, very fascinating. In fact, at that time, I did some mining also. But then, unfortunately, I never thought Bitcoin will become so valuable. So I deleted all my Bitcoins at that time
Oh.
when I was shifting my laptop. So that obviously today I realize was the biggest mistake I've ever made. But ever since then, I've been kind of very active in this market. And I'm very, very bullish about the long term potential of blockchain as well as blockchain tokens. So, yeah, that's a little bit about myself. Currently, I'm the chief blockchain architect at the hybrid finance blockchain or the hi-fi blockchain.
Absolutely. So Raz, now we all have been getting excited. I think the biggest push which we saw was this tweet which said that Bitcoin will reach 1 million in next 90 days. I think we have already half past, or I think around 36 to 37 days now. What is your opinion? Let's start from there.
No, I think that doesn't make any sense because, see, we must understand one thing. Bitcoin was made to be a medium of exchange. Now, if
Hmm.
the value of Bitcoin goes up too much or it fluctuates too much, it is not suitable as a medium of exchange. So we should not even expect the price to go so high because Bitcoin is not a store of value. No matter how
Hmm.
many people say it, it is not designed to be that and it cannot become that. It is
Hmm.
supposed to be a very good medium of exchange. And I believe in the long run, say by 2030, there will be two such medium of exchange. One will be Bitcoin, the other will be Monero. So
Okay.
Bitcoin would be for the white world or the legitimate world, and Monero would be for the black world or the whole criminal world. Because we must
Hmm.
try to understand, the criminal world is probably as big as the legitimate world.
Right.
And they are the ones who are actually always driving a lot of innovation. In fact, Bitcoin initially, the biggest use case was Silk Road, and
Correct.
billions of dollars worth of drugs and other illegal stuff was sold using it. Now
Hmm.
we know that Bitcoin is traceable, it is not so opaque, it is very transparent, and that is where a privacy coin like Monero comes in. So both of them have their solid use cases, and I think they will do well in the long run, but we should not expect the prices to be too high.
Hmm.
Simple
Hmm.
logic would be, if the Indian rupee goes up too much, it's not a good thing. Or
Hmm.
the US dollar, any medium of exchange should always go between a standard band and it should not go too volatile. So
So in
that's the
long
basic.
term, so you see that that is more sustainable than these sudden price rise, sudden price falls.
Absolutely. So one way which we can try to figure out is that okay, because we know the value of Bitcoin is fixed, right? There is 21 million maximum उससे ज़्यादा नहीं बन सकते हैं. So what we've got to try to figure out is that what volume of transactions do we expect, and
Hmm.
based on that we can sort of predict what the valuation should be. So
Hmm.
honestly, according to me, $50,000 is a very good valuation for Bitcoin,
Hmm. Hmm.
and I don't expect it to ever go beyond that in the long run. That's my personal expectation.
Sure, sure. Do your own research, guys. And Rose, now we have seen a Bitcoin crossing the barrier of 30,000. So do you think we are in the next bull run, or is it a short term thing? What is your opinion about it?
I think we're still a little few months to go before we can actually expect a bull run. See, there are certain very core issues that are still to be sorted out. And right now, the biggest problems are regulatory across the board. So, on the one hand, in the US, the SEC is going after a lot of crypto, saying you are securities or exchanges that you guys are not allowed to do certain kinds of things. I feel the screws are tightening on Binance also. So, that is probably the last major setback that we are all waiting for. That if Binance gets into more trouble, that would be probably the end of the bear market. After that, we can expect to see it starting to move up. And like you, I believe very strongly in decentralized exchanges. Even though I don't have a MetaMask t-shirt, I believe in decentralized exchanges. So I think Binance is the last thing standing. Once that takes a big hit, we can see the end of the bear market. That's what I believe.
So I think that that's a really interesting point to us. We have seen a lot of exchanges falling in last few months, but I mean, and I mean that's again my point of view is decentralization in crypto is still a myth. I think if you look at Binance, it has a huge monopoly. Whether you call it a decentralized exchange, whether you call it exchange, everything is controlled by Binance. But don't you think? I mean, hopefully it should never happen. But if Binance goes down, it will take the whole crypto industry down, and maybe for a very long time. What do you think?
Sure. So I don't really think that Binance will go down as it will vanish, but
Hmm.
a lot of hit will be taken and a lot more regulatory pressure will come on Binance to
Hmm.
sort of become transparent about what they are doing. See, on the
Hmm.
one hand, you have Coinbase, which is regulated by the US law, so everything is known. But on
Hmm.
the other hand, Binance, virtually anything is really known about what happens inside. So I
Hmm.
think regulators will push Binance and force it to
Hmm.
become more transparent.
Hmm.
That will actually lead to a reduction in trades on Binance. Because
Hmm.
today, let's take an example, those who want to avoid the 30% crypto tax in India, they are
Hmm.
using Binance to do that. Now, when the
Correct.
Indian government puts enough pressure on Binance and says you cannot allow Indians to
Hmm.
bypass this legal thing or
Hmm.
bypass the taxation, and Binance agrees,
Hmm.
then actually we will see a dip in trade. But then
Correct.
we will start to see real solid trades happen. The
Hmm.
volumes may be lower, but it will not be this blind algorithmic trading that we see, where
Hmm.
crypto has become sort of like gambling.
Hmm.
That's not a good thing. In the long run, that's definitely a bad thing. Once those kind of things are controlled, we will begin to see better quality of
Hmm.
transactions.
So rather than seeing 6,000 projects on CoinMarketCap, I think those will reduce, but those will be good, solid projects which will stick around.
Absolutely, absolutely correct.
Got it. And Ross, so you said we are still a bit far from the next bull run. So currently we are in a bear market. What are your some of the tips to survive this bear market for from projects, retailers, traders? Maybe we can put these three in different boxes. What do you recommend? What should be
Sure.
done?
So last year on 31st March, I had gone on live on all social media platforms and told everybody that I'm selling all my crypto, and I
Hmm.
recommended that to everybody also.
Hmm.
So fortunately, those who sold it did not really see the dip which happened after that.
Hmm.
Now, as of right now, I'll be very honest. This concept of HODL,
Hmm.
I think it is one of the worst pieces of financial advice. Somebody came out and it is just stuck. But it is
Hmm.
absolutely ridiculous. There is no single financial market in the world which
Hmm.
always goes up. Whether
Correct.
it is diamonds, gold, real estate, equity, nothing goes up. Right?
Hmm.
Everything has its ups and downs. So telling people to blindly hold on is very
Hmm.
bad financial advice, is what I believe. So what I
Hmm.
would say is, see, I'm not a trader and I don't like the concept of trading. It is way too stressful. So I
Correct.
never have advice for traders. But
Hmm.
when it comes to people who are holding on, don't believe in this concept of long run. Okay, I'll be
Hmm.
very honest with you. Today, the world after COVID has become like this, that even when we talk about large companies today, in the
Hmm.
conventional world, they
Hmm.
don't think beyond 1 quarter.
Correct.
1 year is like maximum they will ever think. When they
Hmm.
are not thinking more than a quarter, why are we thinking more than a quarter?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I always look at crypto also that, okay, what do I expect in the next 3 months?
Hmm.
Now, am I really seeing some very, very good positive news coming? No.
Hmm.
So, what am I really expecting? Nothing much. Now,
Hmm.
when I start to foresee that, okay, all the regulatory problems that could have happened have now happened,
Hmm.
and then I can say, okay, now I can visualize something coming up. Then
Hmm.
I would say, okay, the next 3 months look good. So I
Hmm.
would say just go with a 3 month vision. And as of
Hmm.
right now, I'm still staying away from it.
So
Now,
I
when
mean
it comes,
yeah, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, but when it comes to projects, it's a different ballgame. This is a better
Hmm.
time to build your project, build
Hmm.
your community, because when things are bad,
Hmm.
people have more time to pay attention to you.
Hmm.
When things are doing well in the crypto market and everything is growing up, everyone is busy trying to make money.
Hmm.
Nobody is really getting deeper into projects. So now is a good time that if you have a solid project, showcase it, talk about it on social media, let people start to take your project seriously, so
Hmm.
that when the bull run comes, you can expect your project to do well.
Correct. So I mean, I really like the point which you said that these days 1 year is also a very long term thinking for businesses, and is you should look at short term. So do you think is this the right time to sell Bitcoin, or is it still going to go a bit up? And what do you recommend as of now?
See, honestly, I believe I don't think people can expect to make too much money from Bitcoin. I mean,
Hmm.
just imagine even if it doubles, right?
Hmm.
All you're doing is doubling your money, but the risk that you take. with something like a Bitcoin is so high that a 2x kind of a return, according to me, doesn't justify. You
Hmm.
know, the kind of money people made in the earlier days was very different, and I don't think it's going to happen again. So
Hmm.
I would never really put Bitcoin or Monero,
Hmm.
although I'm very bullish on these two projects. I wouldn't put them on my list of investment.
Hmm.
Right?
Hmm.
Like I said, they're medium of exchange. Use it. So I take payments in those, and then I
Understood.
immediately encash it and use it for whatever I want. But I never hold them on to as
Hold it.
investment. So I wouldn't
Agree.
really advise anyone to hold on to Bitcoin.
Agree. And for retailers, so you are saying it there is no point in holding it. You make certain amount. I mean, probably you decide what percentage you want and then just move out from that.
Yeah, I would say look at smaller projects, which are currently below $1.
Hmm.
But you feel that they have them. I mean, you feel that they are likely to do well because the use case is good. So I always recommend using the ROHAS method. I know I've
Okay.
named it after my name, but it's simple to remember. Where the R stands for the revenue model. So,
Okay.
first question to ask is what is the revenue model of this particular project? If
Hmm.
there is no revenue model, stay away from it because it
Hmm.
cannot make money, right? O is
Hmm.
for the organization. Look at the team behind it. Look them
Hmm.
up on LinkedIn, see what they have done. Do they have relevant experience? I
Hmm.
mean, somebody may be very good in some other field, but do they have that experience in what they are trying to do
Hmm.
here? H is for the history, A for
Hmm.
the algorithm or
Hmm.
the tech stack and all, and S is for the social following. Now, I'm
Hmm.
not saying go blindly for the numbers, but see how
Hmm.
engaged the audience is. So,
Hmm.
there are so many projects which will have millions of followers, but the engagement rate is less than even 0.1%. So,
Hmm.
no, look at how engaged the audience is. Now,
Hmm.
once you analyze these five parameters, pick up projects which are good on all these five, but
Hmm.
today are below $1 or
Hmm.
below 10 cents.
Hmm.
Those are the ones you can actually expect to make massive returns on. Because
Hmm.
if they are so good, the next bull run means you can expect a 10 to 20x return. So
Hmm.
that's what I believe in.
So pick up right now and reap the benefits when the right time comes during the
Yeah.
bull run.
Because see, crypto is so risky and it has such a high element of risk. Do
Hmm.
not get in unless you expect a 10x upfront return. Where there is a good
Hmm.
probability of 10x, only then get in. Otherwise, it's not worth getting.
Correct, correct. So Rohas, also, I mean, I really like this concept of Rohas, and I think we'll definitely share it with our audiences as well. What are your views on people sitting on huge charts of technical analysis, huge chart of fundamental analysis? I know that these charts work well for standard businesses, which we have seen in stocks. Do these actually work, or it's a lot of randomness happens suddenly? Elon
It
Musk
doesn't
tweets
work.
something and it just goes crazy.
You are absolutely right. It is, see, the crypto market is very heavily influenced by all sorts of very weird things, right?
Hmm.
Like what Elon Musk says impacts in a big way, right? I
Hmm.
mean, for example, he changed the logo in Twitter for maybe one day and put something which
Correct.
looked like the Dogecoin logo, and suddenly the price goes up. So
Hmm.
that's unfortunately the way it is. No, I don't believe in technical analysis. All those graphs and trying to find patterns in it, they don't make any sense to me.
Hmm. Hmm. Because there are no patterns. There's a
There are no
historical
patterns.
pattern also which we have
Yeah, so some of
seen.
people have a lot of time to spare, so they keep making all these kind of weird graphs, but no, it doesn't make any sense.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what are your views on these? I mean, I will ask this question on every few months we see a new Ethereum killer. So first is can Ethereum be actually killed? And
Of
second,
course.
if yes, then who do you think is the biggest contender currently?
See, anything can be killed. There is absolutely no doubt. I mean, if you remember the Nokia and BlackBerry, even we thought Nokia can never be killed. So the way business is, the way the world is. I mean, you look at how AI has suddenly changed the game. I
Hmm.
mean, till a few months ago, it was impossible to believe that Google had a threat. Now
Hmm.
suddenly we are saying Google is dead, right?
Correct.
So that can always happen, but Ethereum killer, I don't think makes any sense. And I'll tell
Hmm.
you why. See, in blockchain, the older a platform is, the better it is
Hmm.
because so many projects are already sitting on it, and there is a very high cost of
Hmm.
moving from Ethereum somewhere else. And I mean
Hmm.
cost of time and
Hmm.
energy and
Hmm.
technical issues which arise when you try to move away. So because most of the popular DeFi platforms are already running on Ethereum, why would they want to migrate unless there
Hmm.
is a major problem? Now,
Hmm.
considering that Ethereum and Bitcoin both have their layer twos, so where
Hmm.
in Bitcoin you have the liquid, you have the Lightning Network, and
Right.
here you have Polygon and so many others. So all the problems of Ethereum are already currently being taken out by the L2s, and
Hmm.
very soon a time will come when Ethereum will not even need an L2.
Hmm.
It is also maturing. So many new upgrades are coming. So no,
Hmm.
honestly, I don't think it is going to go anywhere. In fact,
Hmm.
I think that would probably be only public permissionless blockchain that will remain. We
Hmm.
don't need so many. I mean, you look at the operating
Correct.
system world.
Hmm.
We had so many operating systems. Now the
Hmm.
operating systems that I used to use in the early 90s, most of them don't exist anymore. And
Hmm.
today the world is very happy with Windows, Linux, and Mac. So
Hmm.
similarly, I think in the world here, we need a Bitcoin, Monero. They have their own chains also, and
Hmm.
one Ethereum. Why do we need another one? Then we
Hmm.
will have maybe more permissioned blockchains, and that's
Hmm.
about it. We don't need so many.
So eventually the it would be that we'll have not more than 5 to 10 cryptos or blockchains which you all will be using.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Understood. Understood. So I'll just check. There are few questions which are coming in into the community, and yes. So let me. Yes. So I think one question which in fact I had written for you is for our audiences, if you could explain what does tokenization means and what are some, I mean, everybody talks about tokenization and people have been talking about arbitrary things here which we don't even understand. So according to you, what is the definition of tokenization and what are certain use cases which are currently happening or which you see happening in the future?
Sure. So when we say tokenization, we mean that we are going to take a real world asset which has
Hmm.
some intrinsic value and we are going to create its digital version on the blockchain so that anybody who's using the token is actually owning that asset.
Hmm.
Simplest example would be Tether. So when you
Okay.
look at Tether USDT, it's a
Hmm.
fiat backed stablecoin. So there is an asset which is
Hmm.
called the US dollar that is supposedly lying in their bank account. Let's trust
Hmm.
them when they say that they are one to one backed. So
Hmm.
when you buy USDT, you are buying a token on a blockchain, but it represents the US dollar or Singapore dollar, euro. They have so many things. Now, in
Hmm.
fact, they are also starting with gold. Now,
Hmm.
today, when we want to hold on to gold, it has problems. Where
Hmm.
will we store it? Suppose somebody steals it. How do I know the gold I have bought is genuine? What if
Hmm.
I want to buy zero point 0.1 gram? All that is
Hmm.
not possible in the real world.
Hmm.
Now, when someone like a Paxos, if you trust them,
Hmm.
they buy the gold and keep it with them in the locker, which you can come and verify. And against it, they are giving you these tokens. And you can then buy and sell the token. So effectively, you can buy zero point 0.1 gram,
Hmm.
and without holding the physical asset, you
Hmm.
are owning the physical asset. That is the
Hmm.
core meaning of tokenization.
Hmm.
Now, why blockchain? Because blockchain is decentralized, which means when I want to buy and sell this token, I don't need permission. The
Hmm.
US government cannot come one day and say, oh, we are imposing embargo on your country, so now you cannot trade anymore. They
Hmm.
cannot do that on the blockchain. So that's one
Hmm.
benefit. Secondly, blockchain runs 24/7. We are
Hmm.
not running based on timing of a stock exchange or a
Hmm.
bank. There are no weekly holidays here. Plus, we can do fractional buying and selling. Like
Hmm.
we can buy zero point 0.1 gram, for example. So
Hmm.
because of those reasons, blockchain is a better alternative when
Hmm.
it comes to tokenizing real world assets. So I
Hmm.
believe as we over the next few years, we will see things like art, collectibles, physical collectibles. We will see equity shares of
Hmm.
startups as well as established companies. We will see copyright licenses, books, software, movies, music, and we will
Hmm.
see real estate. And
Hmm.
all of these will start to get tokenized, and that will add the real magic to blockchain. Today, the entire crypto world is about $1 trillion.
Hmm.
1 trillion.
Hmm.
Real estate itself is 300 trillion. Now
Hmm.
imagine if 1% of that comes to the crypto market, it's 3 trillion
Hmm.
coming. So from
Hmm.
1 trillion, crypto goes to 4
Yes,
trillion.
for
Look at the growth.
correct.
Same for art and copyright is $3 trillion, right?
Hmm.
So when these real world assets start to move on,
Hmm.
that's when we are going to see the massive boom. And we are there. I mean, we've already seen so much of fiat currency which is tokenized. Now we
Hmm.
are beginning to see gold getting tokenized.
Hmm.
Lots and lots of projects are doing tokenization of real
Hmm.
estate. So
Hmm.
that is where I see the future.
So just to understand it better, Rose, so when I say, let's say I have a land parcel and I can divide it into as many smaller points, I can maybe divide it into 100 parts, 10,000 parts, and everybody owns this. Is that how it means?
Yeah. So let's take an example. Let's say this is a building, right?
Sure,
Now
sure.
this building has say 100 flats in it or apartments, and I
Hmm.
own the whole thing.
Okay.
Now this may be let's say in Dubai. Now a lot of
Hmm.
people feel that the real estate market of Dubai will do well in the long run, but
Hmm.
they don't have the money to go and buy an entire apartment in
Hmm.
Dubai. It may cost you upwards of 1 million. So if the owner of this property tokenizes it, takes all the documents and gives it to a legally recognized custodian. Like today, you may have heard about the concept of debenture. Exactly the same thing happens. In a debenture, you have some physical property which is backing your debenture which you have raised. And there is a SEBI registered custodian appointed by the government who holds the documents. So let's say this entire building is tokenized, government authorized custodian holds the documents, and you and I can even invest $100 and buy a fraction of an apartment here. Now, what happened on day one is the entire money goes to the owner of the property, but they continue to manage the property. So while holding the asset, they've already got all the money also. And people like you and me can participate in the price rise. So I'm happy, you are happy, and the owner of the property. So
And
that's the
then
beauty
whoever
of
has so for example, then let's say if somebody really wants to buy one flat, they can just buy those tokens. So it's like owning a share in a company. If I have majority of the share, I can maybe own one flat.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Understood. And you're saying these things have already started happening currently in
Yes, they have. So, for example, many projects, including Paxos, are doing this for gold. Fiat currencies, so we already have so many players in that. Now we are beginning to see many projects doing this for real estate. So yes, lots and lots of projects, including some in India, are already doing on real estate. So it's already started, and it is a very solid use case. And the beauty is, like for example, of course, I'm talking a lot India centric. Like here we have a 30% crypto tax, but the government has made special notifications that if the crypto you're holding is backed by a real world tangible asset, it is not subject to the 30% tax.
Oh, so that's a law which government
Yes.
has.
Yeah. So last year on 30th June, these two notifications came out, which
Interesting.
specifically exempted these kinds of tokens.
Mm-hmm.
Then, because of that, these are not treated like regular cryptos. So that taxation element is also much better. So,
So,
it's very positive.
so you're saying one of those cryptos which will fall into this category is Paxos, which
Yes,
which
Paxos will,
exempted from
but
30%.
only for the gold tokenized version.
Okay, Paxos
As
Gold.
long as it is backed by a real world asset, you get this benefit. If it is pure crypto, you do not get this benefit.
Okay, so I mean, if this is a law which Indian government has passed, I'm sure that eventually other governments also will start taking the same thing because you have a real asset. Yeah, understood. Interesting. And so when you talk about tokenization, I'm assuming you and me cannot do it on our own. We need a set of developers, we need a set of IP lawyers. So what all is involved in tokenization, and can anybody tokenize their real world assets as of now?
Okay. So the first thing that you got to answer is people have to trust you. So let's take an example. If you are the Louvre Museum in Paris and you tokenize the Mona Lisa, people trust you. So you can tell people you can buy 0.001% of Mona Lisa. So the museum can get a huge amount of money, but the museum keeps the painting. And in fact, I as an investor will want them to keep the painting.
Correct.
Because
Safer
who else
there.
will keep
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
Safer
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Now, suppose I'm an individual and I say I have a painting worth $1 million in my house. People won't trust me, right? They'll say, Are Kalko, what if he sells it off?
Correct.
So,
Correct.
number one thing which comes in is you have to be trusted.
Trust.
So, if I am a coffee plantation and I want to tokenize the entire coffee plantation and people can come and see it, maybe they'll trust you. So, that is point number one. If people don't trust you, then bring in a custodian who is trusted. So, for art, you would bring in a museum. For anything else, you could bring in a debenture trustee, for example. So, the number one requirement is the existence of the asset. The number two requirement is the existence of a trusted custodian. After that, it is just a matter of using some very simple legal templates, which are very easily available, and you tokenize, you transfer the ownership and all that. You make those documents, and you're good to go.
Okay. Understood. Let me see if there are any more questions or and one another question which I have. So for people who don't understand maybe Rohas, the term, people who don't understand trading, people who don't understand or they don't have too much time to invest in this, what is your recommendation what they should do at this point of time
They
when
should
we
do
are
nothing.
in the bear market?
I have a very simple logic. It is your money. It is your
Correct.
hard-earned money. If you do not have time to learn about it, then don't invest it here. You will end up losing all your money because you will randomly follow people who will try to sell you something. This is why I hate the concept of social media influencers. because
Correct.
they are not, nobody is supposed to influence your decision.
Hmm.
People are supposed to give you information which you will analyze and then you take a call. So
Hmm.
if you do not have time to learn crypto, don't invest.
Don't take the easy way out.
Yeah,
Correct.
don't take the easy way out. You will just end up losing all your money. Like so many people lost money on Terra. I
Correct.
remember when Terra was crashing in those 24 hours, when
Hmm.
it crashed to half, many people put more money, saying, Nani, it will go up again.
Hmm.
Because they did not understand what is going wrong. And then they end up
Correct.
losing more money. And then
Hmm.
they blame crypto for it.
Hmm.
No, if you go without learning, in the stock market, you can
Anywhere.
do it because there are mutual funds
Hmm.
registered with the government and you can trust
Hmm.
them because they
Hmm.
appoint the experts. There is
Hmm.
nothing like this in crypto. Who are
Hmm.
you going to trust? Right?
Correct. Correct.
So do your own research, and if you can't, then don't get it.
Great, great, Rohas. And the last 1 million question is, when do you think is the next bull run going to start? When should we
I
expect
expect it
it?
at the end of this year
Okay, okay. So
because, like
that's
I said, there are still certain dominoes that need to fall,
hmm,
and I think by the end of next year we can start. So I think 2024 is definitely going to be a bull run.
hmm, hmm, hmm.
So
Absolutely. Great, Rohas. Thank you for sharing your insights
my
on
pleasure.
this live session, and we wish you all the best. And we'll definitely try to understand more of the Rohas, the logic
Sure.
which you explained with us. And thank you very much for coming on the podcast.
Okay. Bye bye.
See you. Bye. Thank you.